needs to get in touch with his feminine side. I think he's
Not
been
a problem.
going that way a bit too much lately.
Whatever. I'm happy.
Did you sort out your parallel timelines and alternate universe?
Oh, did you listen to that?
I did, yeah.
I was right though. Technically, a parallel timeline.
You really annoy me.
A timeline and a parallel dimension could both be the same thing.
Didn't get it, did you? It's like
I got what you mean. You just want them to be different. What do you think, Phil? What is it? Could they be?
The thing that I was thinking when you were talking about it is when you say parallel timelines. To me, parallel lines never meet. Yeah. So they're kind of separate. Whereas, like, I think what Rick was talking about, like the multiverse thing, is more like branches. You're going into a different branch and a different universe is created at every decision, every branch. So I think they are different things, but it's probably...
Yes!
We're lacking the...
How do I get him out of here?
I think obviously related, aren't they? But, you know.
I'm still going that they could be.
Let's start. And we'll talk
anyway, whatever.
No.
We won't talk about that. We'll talk about
ready. You ready?
Sure, we'll find. I'm not.
What are you doing?
Are you all set up? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. I'll just cut the beginning off when my thing. Go on then.
All right. We Getty?
We are Getty.
Hello and welcome to episode 34 of the Big Conspire. I'm Rick.
I'm Lee.
And
I'm Amish Phil.
Amish Phil. We've got Amish Phil from Liverpool. No, I'm kidding. From the Amish Inquisition. It's nice of him to join us tonight. We're conspiracy. I don't think you're not exactly conspiracy, are you? You're more. You called it the matrix of different ideas of history and stuff like that. You know, generally, I listen to a lot of your, like, obviously, I listen to your podcast. So a lot of your guests are, my head falls off my shoulders sometimes. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, it's a little bit. But yeah, what would you consider your? Go on.
We don't really. We don't really sort of stick rigidly to conspiracies, although I find them fascinating. Yeah. It's more. I like the alternative history stuff and ancient history stuff.
Yeah,
and we have mainstream people as well, mainstream Egyptologists, archaeologists, physicists.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So just whoever we deem interesting. Basically, there's no sort of hard and fast rules.
Do you struggle to Do you get people on that you haven't necessarily read a lot of their stuff or whatever, and you just know that they're particularly know a lot about their stuff, and then they're talking about what they're talking about, and your head's like, "What are you talking about?" Do you know? And like struggle to ask them relative questions about what the fuck they're talking about.
It can be. It depends on the guest. It's like we've got someone coming on who's a mycologist. You familiar with mycology and mycelium networks? Yeah,
it's in Star Trek.
Yeah, mushroom.
It plugs into the mycelium. Yeah, it's becoming like a word, like a more popular word. It's like you hear it. Yeah, the first place I heard it was in Star Trek, and then it's like Star Trek's turned. It's like real science now. It's like, what the fuck? It's a real thing, like, but you know, like a lot of stuff in Star Trek or whatever. Like.
It's this guy called Paul Stamets who's been popularising it recently. He was on Joe Rogan a couple of years ago.
Did you just say Paul Stamets?
Paul Stamets.
I'm sure that's the bloody character in Star Trek.
That's the name of the character in Star Trek.
Right, so the company, I can't remember the name of the production company behind Star Trek Discovery, but they consulted with Paul Stamets about this mycelium network and how theoretically it could work. And then they named...
I thought it was a Mandela moment then.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on? It's real.
Yeah, so they named the chief engineer's character after him.
Ah, okay, all right. So
didn't know that.
We were getting all excited. Oh, it's Paul Stamets, it's a real person. Actually, they named it after him. Yeah.
Good old man.
Yeah,
I've said. So go on.
No, it's just be a hell of a synchronicity that if it was done accidentally.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I've said to Lee a couple of times maybe about like maybe getting people on to talk about stuff, and you were like, actually quite like what you're doing. You know, just talking about, you know, just. Yeah, it's like kitchen talk kind of thing. You know, you have a get together, and
I think it's like I describe it as like being down the pub with your mates, and you all of you have like know a little bit about
like
something.
You.
Yeah, fair enough. Down the pub with people we don't like. like you're down the pub and each of you know a little bit, or you've read some stuff, and then you start having a discussion, and then that turns into what you know and what you don't know, and none of you really know anything. You're just having a chat, and hopefully people listen to what we're saying, and maybe it will make them think different things. Anyway, give their like imagination a little bit of a spark, or maybe just people just listen and go, "Oh, what bunch of." It's fine either way. I don't mind.
Shut up a minute. Yeah, exactly. The reason I actually wanted to start this podcast is because you're saying like people would listen to you or whatever. No one ever, like, whatever, no matter what I was fucking trying to like put across, family get-togethers, whatever. No one listened to me. It's like, oh, you're just an idiot. You're the idiot. I'm an idiot conspiracy theorist. So now it's like, I'm right about a lot of things, aren't I? You know what I mean?
I'm right.
Kind of like 9/11, and I think you're still on the fence a little bit about that. A little bit. I've been trying to convince Lee to do a 9/11 podcast. He said, but it's too big and so much about it. I said, but that's the point of it. We could do like in 2 parts or whatever. And you just find all the bits and chuck it in and chuck your own fucking ideas.
The problem is, me and you, we're pretty shit at doing any sort of real research. You know what I mean? We'll go on the internet for a little bit.
Yourself, don't put me into your shitness.
On. You're exactly the same as me. We'll copy paste a few things. A lot of the time, we'll just read off someone else's website and have a chat, and then say what we think about it afterwards. 9/11 is huge, and there's people who've done so much better stuff than we'd ever like managed to do. We wouldn't do any sort of justice to it.
No, well, yeah, but it's just you're just in the pub talking about it, aren't you? So 9/11 is like
I'm sure we'll tackle it. We'll tackle it at some point, because things will just, the more
I'd much rather do that than JFK, because it's interesting, like everything that comes from JFK with all the bushes and all that shit. But
the grassy knoll, you mean?
Yeah, well, do
you mean like George Bush being there?
Yeah, like just all different stuff and then linked in with the mafia and all that stuff. But I don't care. Don't care, yeah. It's like he wasn't my, I don't give a shit about American presidents and stuff. Apart from it's good to talk about it. But I'd much rather, like 9/11 was part of, it's affected me, with planes and, all the security and all that fucking bullshit.
And the wars.
And the wars, yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah. Yeah, so that's, not that I've obviously gone and fought or anything like that.
I mean, this is the beauty of what we're doing, is that you can, with this modern technology, you can get someone who spent the last 20 years nearly looking at 9/11 and tap their brains for an hour and come up, you don't have to do all that research.
Because you've got other people to do it and just get them there and just like, I quite like talking about it, but yeah, it'd be actually really good to get someone on, and 7/7 as well, because that's not, I wouldn't know, like any podcasts, people come and research, not for, a long time. I talked about the inconsistencies with the, all that shit. So that'd definitely be an interesting one. What's your favorite? What's your most interested sort of conspiracy? Say, Phil, that you would maybe that you lie awake thinking about at night? Gives you nightmares.
I think it's got to be the one we're living through. And
because literally you can lie awake thinking shit, yeah, because we are actually we're living in what's that bloody film, They Live. We're living in They Live like right now, we're in I
watched that a couple of weeks ago.
It's a fantastic film. Shit, I forgot what I was going to say now. Like for years, I know I've put my tinfoil hat right on. For years I've sort of that's like fantasized about it. Sort of thought about, at some point they're gonna come and put us in camps and all that shit and
FEMA camps, black helicopters.
Yeah, I can't work out where the FEMA camps are in the UK. I don't know what they're going to do with us. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to kill us.
I like the grand. I like the sort of grand, World Economic Forum, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Club of Rome. And the good stuff about that is that, it's not hidden. It's all there. It's all published. You can go and read it all, what the plans are, and how the COVID stuff is going to transmit into climate change. And, will we stand for climate lockdowns? There was an article today saying that UNICEF, Greta Thunberg's come out. She's a patron for UNICEF say, and this latest report that's come out today is saying that there is 1 billion children at risk from climate change. So, I mean, if we're going to lock the world down to save 82-year-olds, I would say, you know, there's a good chance we'll lock the world down to save 1 billion kids.
100%. Did you see they, Scotland, I don't know if they've actually passed it, but it was in the news. I think you talked about it, Lee, about saying that Scotland want to keep some of their powers, you know, their emergency powers, just in case they need to put them back in. But obviously they can just lock you down for any old shit. It's so they can, if there's any health, you know, implications, and they can just lock down a certain area, which goes in with the, you know, the climate change. I mean, I've tried to talk to my family. God, I've tried to talk to the rest of my family about this. So even though I pop into my mum's every twice a week, you know, to make sure she's all right. I sit down and invariably comes up, because she's, you know, she's 73 and BBC and all that stuff, and believes every single thing to do with COVID. And she's like, anytime anything comes up, I start, but this about going on about the world, who come on from? And Mum, they're going to try and stop you eating meat. She's like, what are you talking about? And I can't help it. Every single conversation that I like, fucking, and she's like, no. I said, yeah, you know, you've just got to look at, you know.
Talking about stopping to eat meat, I found a news thing, and it's basically two US scientists have managed to, I think this is quite recent, maybe last month. They've managed to find a way to like make plastic so it turns into protein so you can eat it. Let me just read it.
Obviously,
2 US scientists have won a €1 million, 1.18 million dollar prize for creating a food generator concept that turns plastic into protein. The 2021 Future Insight Prize went to Ting Lu, a professor of bioengineering, and Stephen Peckman, associate professor of biological sciences, for the project. It uses microbes to degrade plastic waste and convert it into food. The German science and technology company Merck sponsors the prize. Global plastics production totaled 368 million metric tons in 2019. The only decline in the past 60 years came because of COVID-19 pandemic choked production of goods worldwide as factories sputtered and shipping slowed down. So basically, yeah, they've found a way that they're going to turn plastic in. You could be able to eat plastic.
Is that how they make?
That's all good, isn't it?
Is that how they make the food in Star Trek? Then that's another Star Trek thing. They just convert.
But you could make it up, could you?
Well, it doesn't matter about if we keep chucking plastic in the sea and stuff, then does it? Don't worry about that, because they can just turn it into food.
Oh no, we've fixed it, because do you remember how we used to have, you know, when you go to McDonald's, you used to have a plastic straw wrapped in paper. Well, now you have a paper straw wrapped in plastic.
I know. Ridiculous. It's insane. Oh yeah.
It's better to cut trees down than make plastic. It's fucking nuts.
Okay. Oh, I can't help but see. Completely change subject now. It's kind of like almost conspiracies and everything. I'm sound like a nutter. My wife had David Attenborough on last night. She loves to listen to his voice or whatever, and I think he's great at talking. But he just,
while you're in bed.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, she's like,
okay, we won't go into that.
She's like, shut up and put David Attenborough on. But no, just him talking about. Obviously, he's been everywhere. You know, he loves his animals and stuff like that. But you can see he hates humans. You can see it in his eyes, like, you know, and he wants to get rid of humans. The crux of the thing at the end of it was like, what we have to do is reduce the population. My wife's going, yeah, that's probably quite a good idea. It's like, but you can't just choose to just kill people. You know what I mean? Or even limit. I don't think limit.
All right. How much do we need? Does he want to reduce the population by? Like 40%?
No, but he's a bit coy about it, isn't he? I reckon he's just 500 million he wants left on the planet, like the Georgia Guidestones. He wrote it.
Right, so like, all right.
I don't know.
All right, Sir David, Isaac Newton, Einstein, Mary Curie, Nikola Tesla. Which ones are going? Which ones aren't going to be born?
That's exactly my point. Exactly, because if you select anybody to go, you don't know who you know. You might knock off your Hitler here and there, but there's so many geniuses, and you know, everybody's unique. You need everybody to make this human connection. I know there's a lot of fuckers about. I mean, I'm a fucker, you know what I mean?
I think we know
that's just.
We know that it's not to do with like population; it's to do with the distribution of wealth and that. They've got enough technology.
What are we talking about?
There's enough for people. Like, there's not. There's too many people on the planet. It's not too many people.
No.
It's just all. It's just all done wrong, isn't it? It's set up wrong. It's set up for the people at the top
to
carry
us
on.
And want to kill us, and they'll just carry on fucking in their cloud cities.
That's what the climate change, isn't it? With the carbon credits and that. So, everyone stop driving your car, but it's not us producing the main amount of pollution. It's these big companies.
There's a famous.
The other day.
Sorry.
There was like some 6 big companies produce.
Shut him up now.
40% of the pollution in the world, but they're blaming like the normal people for it. Not us, it's them. We're going to be paying for it because that's the way they want it to go.
There's a famous stat, and I'm going to get the number wrong, but it's something like we produce enough food to feed the population 3 times over.
Yeah.
It sounds about right.
And everyone on the planet can fit in Texas or something like that, or Bristol, or something stupid like that. It's just not.
And on Isle of Wight, they will stand shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, something like, stand 10 deep, shoulder to shoulder, whatever. Yeah, on each other's shoulders.
Maybe there's too many billions now, and they're all being in the sea.
There's enough food, etc., etc., etc. But it's right. It's just the way it's distributed. But it's like blame everybody and blame too many people. Poverty. I mean, he did. To be fair, he did say, there's too much poverty, and that's this thing that needs to change. But that it won't. It will just kill us, and they'll just be there with their automated fucking robots serving them, and I don't know, and these transhuman sex slave fucking half donkey whatever. It's all.
It's all good. For, is it?
Yeah, probably. Sure. That's why I think I don't know. What do you think about cryptids when I don't know, like winged? Do you hear about people seeing winged? What's his man, Mothman, and all that shit? I think it's probably come from some secret base somewhere where they're experimenting with the gene therapy on people, and then these animals have escaped or whatever. They've tried to hunt them down, as a bit of sport, and they've just got away, and they're just it don't matter.
Like that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Hard Target.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
I've probably seen it. Was it? I presume it's an 80s one, or is it a more recent 90s? Or that'd be 90s, wouldn't it? 90s,
yeah, about
80s, 90s,
93ish, 93ish, I think.
Okay, so obviously, what was he doing?
The plot was that these sort of gang of rich billionaires get together every month or whatever, and they hunt humans. Like, some people are captured, and there's like 20 people, and they set them off. They give them a head start, and then these rich assholes come and hunt them.
I thought you meant Van Damme was hunting down cryptids in the film. Like, I couldn't remember that in any of his films. That's what I was saying. Like, what was the Hard Target? He's hunting Bigfoot.
I'd pay to see that.
A few films like that where they like rich people are hunting us poor people.
It used to be the other way around, like the French Revolution, didn't it? No, I don't mean that. I did used to be more. I'm a spiritual guy now, but this shit is going on now. It's like, it's obviously
it's more spiritual. Hang 'em all.
I am. I used to be very for violent revolution. I was very much a hard left socialist. Want to get redistribute the wealth from cut their heads off and put them against the wall and stuff like that. I wouldn't have done it, but that was like my sort of political motivation. But now I'm more sort of spiritual. But with all that, I suppose all the crap going on, I suppose there's going to be sort of lines drawn the way it's going. What are you going to do? I don't know. Sit down and take it? Probably, maybe.
I think that's how it's going.
Yeah, it is really, because I mean, it's a bit. I think it's a bit harder for them to do it in America because they've got guns, and I know they've tried to push the false flag and try and push things so that they can take their guns away. I don't know how they're going to get the guns off people.
Still working in America. There's still places where they are being
masked.
I know. They are masking their children, and they are, staying in. Well, I don't know about so much staying indoors, but they did stay indoors.
Yeah, in certain places. But I think, don't get me wrong. In fact, I'm just going to fucking make it up. It's probably in the places that are the gunless ones. The gunless places are the places that agree into the. Isn't it like California and New York and stuff like that where you can't?
I don't think anywhere's gunless.
Like open carry and etc. The places like Texas, Florida, is that the gun laws are a bit more lenient.
I think you can conceal carry in New York. I think you can conceal carry in New York, but it's very hard to get it. But yeah, it's all stratified. Yeah. Different states have different. But it doesn't matter because they have the military. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how well armed you are.
Yeah. No,
I think a lot of people.
Got tank caviar.
A lot of people are coming to the realization that they're starting homesteading, and they're selling up and moving out into the country and buying some land and raising pigs and chickens and growing, small holdings and trying to be self-sufficient off the grid and just sort of watch the world burn.
The thing is, though, hold on. The thing is, if the government want to get rid of them people, they're just a drone strike away as well, aren't they? In their homestead, it's not, and there's no one going to be recording it. I don't know.
No, I don't think
I can't get rid of them. Or
the way I see it going is the sort of smart city, sustainable development stuff.
Yeah,
and that
that's the idea, isn't it? Yeah.
You look at all this stuff, the United Nations stuff like Agenda 21 and what have you, and the way they talk about rewilding certain areas outside of the main city centre hubs will be off limits. You won't be able to go.
That's what David Attenborough was talking about last night, and that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, carry on.
Yeah, because those wild areas would be where the rich people hunt the poor people. So you won't be allowed in there.
Yeah, and you'll just have these sort of condensed population centres, and there's a lot of talk about it's called 15-minute cities. So the idea is that where you live, everyone will live within 15 minutes walking distance of all the amenities you'll need, whether it be school, hospital, I don't know, fucking library, whatever. And
so you won't be on sorry, go on.
There'll be no travelling. You won't leave your area. You'll just stay in your little
block
pod. I mean,
it's like 2000 AD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you're a mega city and you're living in your block, and it's just like. I've said to people about they're building smart motorways. It's not for people. It's for fucking driverless cars, isn't it? But you just don't get it.
Yeah,
people don't get it. It's like no.
It's all there.
Dangerous when we break down.
It's all out in the open. It's like Charlie Robinson says, "I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy analyst," because it's all there. It's just that people don't have the time. They don't have the time to look at this stuff and put it together, or they're just
on social media to look at it. Isn't there? Too many kittens and
there's a lot of
dogs and I don't know.
But social media. There's a lot of people putting stuff on. This. Social media is where you can find a lot of this stuff out as well. If you've got the right.
Not for much longer.
No, I know that as well. Yeah, I know there's so much to censorship and stuff. I've said to my family as well, at least part of my family, but the other lot, the non-tinfoil hat, about censorship. It's not censorship because the government's not doing it. It's private. It's like, oh, fucking hell! And then you'd say about the Uyghurs in China and how they're being put into concentration camps and you'd have their organs harvested. No, it's not happening. No, it's like why are you bothered about it? It's like because it's like you look at stuff in other places and you can see the steps of where it's leading. Well, hopefully not leading, but you know that it is. You know it is. And I'm trying to convince myself in the last sort of few days, trying to like unred pill myself a little bit by just going, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just wrong, and in I don't know, a couple of years, 5 years time, we'll be at family barbecue, and everyone go, ha ha ha! I remember when you thought everyone wanted to kill us, and you thought COVID wasn't as and all that stuff, and I go, just give me some whiskey, but just no, I can't see it. So
it's all a slow burn, like the Club of Rome, I think was around 1972, something like that. It's 50 odd years ago. These are all long term things. And a lot of this stuff may not happen in the next decade, but it's coming. It's there's no one's going to stop it.
It's the boiling a frog, isn't it? Analogy.
It's a great analogy, yeah.
Yeah, so slow. It's such a slow creep. People, they're like what we just went through with the lockdown. Well, a lot of people went through with the lockdowns and that, and then they pull it back, and then next, but they leave a few laws in place. It's like when the terrorist attacks happen, they bring in some terror laws. And then those terror laws never go away, and they're there, and it's a slow creep, And they'll say, "Oh, we'll never use them," but then why are they there? But I can't remember what it was. It was a couple of months ago. I was looking up something, and they said about a terror law that they've left there, and it was the powers it gave them was shocking. I can't remember it now, so I don't even, probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. But people went and looked into this stuff and know that they got these powers that they can implement, and people don't even know about it. People would be shocked to find out.
Was that in the UK?
It's all there.
Is that UK?
Yeah, it was the UK. It was something I can't remember, but it was a shocking thing that I found out that they could just do because it's part of the terror laws.
Next time you find something
to control
out,
people,
why don't you write it down or something, and then get a little link, and then you can actually explain it. And otherwise, you've left me tantalisingly now. I want to look it up.
Have you ever listened to me and listened to our podcast? Because this is par for the course, mate.
It takes too long to download our podcast for some reason.
Do your own research. Isn't that what everyone says? Just do your own research, man.
Yeah, do your own research.
That's the good thing about Discord is you can put all your links. That's what we've been doing the last few. Well, we only set up ours, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago or something. And you can just put, links and categorize everything, and it makes it a lot easier to.
Quite a few people have said that they've had their Discord's channel shut down as well. So it was like, I think we're all right because not many people sort of, listen to our podcast, etc. So I think we're all right for now. Maybe I feel like
we haven't got an open Discord though. If anyone doesn't go in house, if you want to join Discord, go and join the Amish Inquisition Discord, people.
And then post loads of stuff.
I'm not linked to it, but maybe if you... I think Discord's got a search feature, so maybe if you search on it for Amish Inquisition, it might come up and people can apply. I don't know. Or if not, go and find the Amish Inquisition podcast and then get a link for the Discord.
Yeah, we put it in the show notes every week. We have a big list of show notes where you can find pretty much everything. Because I think, didn't we first connect on Odyssey?
Yeah, I think I commented on one of your videos.
Oh,
I can't remember what it was, and then you read out, because obviously you got the producer thing going on, which is a very good idea, which you got off for. Did you get that from No Agenda?
Yeah,
it was good. But anyway, and you read out obviously my comment, and you said you thought we were. I think you must have gone and looked us up.
You called us Cockneys.
You called us Cockneys. Very offensive. That's not that offensive. I'm not that bothered. So yeah, and that was the beginning of it, and we've.
It's close though. To be fair, we do both support West Ham, but we're not Cockneys. So it's like...
Wrong side of London. We live on the other side of London.
You're enjoying the process though. 30. This is episode 34. You obviously because there's a famous statistic. I think that something like 90% of podcasts don't get past episode 7.
Yeah,
really?
That is definitely.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Are you enjoying it? You're 190 odd, didn't you?
It's it's the highlight of my week, really, podcast night. But I mean, when we started just the same as you. We had just the three of us in a room, no guests, no agenda, no subject matter, just like you said, pub talk. And then, but the thing is, once you get to about 100 episodes, you're talking about the same things. You keep repeating yourself.
We've already done that already, I think. We've done 34, so we've already done it. So so it's nice having you come on as well. So
I went back and listened to one of your earlier podcasts.
One of their ones.
Yeah, obviously. It wasn't the very first one, but it was one of your early ones. And you were just like having a laugh with each other. It was all right. I think there was something about a tiny screwdriver in it. That's all I can really remember.
Oh, from Aldi.
You remember that one?
Yeah,
I don't know. It was like,
Aldi find of the week. Tiny screwdriver.
He was really excited about a tiny screwdriver. So, okay, fair enough. But there wasn't any like conspiracy stuff back then or like weirdness. It was just you having a chat, weren't it?
It literally, just press record and start talking, and there was never any sort of planning or anything. But
so, what was your thing behind starting it to begin with? What did you just want to do a podcast?
I started listening to podcasts, I think, around 2004. So pretty early. It was when Ricky Gervais started, and the thing is, I've always been in bands, so I've always had all the equipment and microphones. I could have started any time, and I remember thinking to myself, I really should start a podcast. I don't know if any of my mates would fucking want to do it with me, but I should start. And so eventually, it was sort of as a social thing more than anything. I've said this on other podcasts before, but once you get to sort of in your 30 and you start having kids and a wife and stuff, your social life sort of goes downhill like that.
Mine was really bad, and it's even worse since getting married 10 years ago.
And I think
he's my only friend now.
I think as blokes, we need a reason to get together and talk, whether it be going to the football or going to the pub. It's like we don't just ring each other up for a chat like our wives and girlfriends do. So it became like a social connection thing that we did every week.
Oh shit! I just remembered a friend of mine left me a voicemail about 2 weeks ago to phone him, and I haven't got back to him yet. There you go.
You haven't got any friends?
I've got a couple. I've got a couple. I haven't spoken to him for ages. He rang me and said, "Can you ring me?" I just remembered now that that was about 2 weeks ago. See, that's right. We just don't get together.
Yeah. No. You ring a bloke. You ring a bloke for a reason. Do you want to meet there? But you don't even need to do that now. It's fucking Texas, isn't it? So it's like you literally don't even need to ring anybody anymore. So
it's all instant messages and memes and gifs. You know, we don't talk to each other unless we have a reason to, and that was the best thing about it. The other angle was we came to the sort of realization that we're this sort of first generation that has all this access to audio and video. And like, if you go and it's like 3 of my grandparents were dead before I was born. And all I have is a few black and white photos. But, you know, we have this opportunity where we can put down our thoughts and our feelings. And when we have kids and grandkids and great grandkids, I mean, it might be a curse, this, but they could go back and listen and get to know you at least. It's almost like there's a bit of a legacy element there as well. I don't know what it's worth.
Time capsule kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. Why the fuck not? We all have access. We all can do this, so why not?
Although it might be the sort of thing where you got all your pictures on a device and you never look at them, do you? You got all that hundreds and hundreds of them. Before, when you had like actual photos that you'd got you went and got them developed down the shop, occasionally you'd get an album out and have a look, but you never go through your old pictures that are on your phone or your device. You save them to a file somewhere on your computer, never look at them again. Do you? So maybe these like recordings now will be a similar sort of thing. They'll be out there somewhere, but no one. God, I've got a big collection from Grandad Phil.
Such a fucking pessimist, man.
I got all these videos from Grandad Phil, and they'd be like, "I'm not watching them. Bothered. I can't be bothered to upload them to my brain cloud or whether it's going to be back up then."
But at least they have the option. At least the option is
there. Have any of your boys listened to any of the podcasts?
My boys, no. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Can be bothered, like.
Hell no.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Dave might have, but I don't. Not on a regular thing. They're not interested. They're not interested in what I got to say.
So in a band, like years ago, we'd record stuff on a little. You've had an MP3 player or something like that, and then you didn't have Facebook or anything like that. Say talking about music. So now for people doing bands and stuff like that, it's fucking because you'd have to literally print off your your fucking flyer, wouldn't you, and hand it out to people. You know, like please come and see our gig, and then you'd get like 4 people or whatever. You get your mum would turn up or whatever, your auntie or whatever.
Yeah,
but now it's like incredible.
We used to go fly postering. So a bucket with paste and a big fucking pile of photocopies and like fly post the town when a gig was coming up. Highly illegal. Don't do it, kids. But that's what we used to do. Whereas now you just fucking post on Twitter or something, don't you?
Hang on, kids. Fuck Facebook and Twitter. Go and put your posters everywhere with a bit of whatever and fuck COVID posters everywhere. Do it. We're not on YouTube. They can't cancel us. It doesn't matter, no. But anyway, where were we? Can't remember.
Talking about, I don't know, pictures.
Oh yeah, what did you actually answer the question about what? Oh no, you did say your favourite conspiracy is right now.
Yeah, and it's in the grand conspiracy. The big UN. They're like the 20 year in the future.
25, 21.
I'm more interested in the conspiracies happening now and in the future than like you said, JFK, which happened 50 years ago.
Yeah.
God, sorry, Lee. I cut Lee off.
You didn't?
Maybe cut. Was you going to say something?
Me and my brother were always cutting each other off. We just talk over each other.
I
think that'd be a problem as well sometimes. We got people on and be like, I just want to cut them off. And plus, sometimes, have you ever had a guest on and you're just sitting there thinking, this is such a load of old tosh?
I couldn't.
You don't.
He can't say that, can he? Because he's going to have guests on there.
He doesn't have to say who they are.
They'll
just say in his head, like, "Oh, this is a bit of a load of old rubbish."
No, I mean, if he says it now, they might go, "Oh, let's check out the podcast if we're going to go on," and they go, "Oh, actually, he slags this sort of whatever."
No, I think everyone's interested in their own way. And
I didn't say they weren't interesting, but you just think, oh, that's just they're just talking rubbish. I mean, it's interesting to listen to, but you know.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty lucky, really, with our guests, and that most of them, well, all of them, have got something to say and have a different point of view, and they tend to be quite specialised. It's good if you can get someone who's like an expert in a subject, because that's interesting in itself. Someone who's spent their whole life. Oh, fucking! I've learned so much.
And then you can actually ask, because there's so many times you listen to a podcast and they've got a guest on there, and you're thinking, ask them this question, just ask them this question, and they don't do it. But at least when you've got them there, you can ask them that fucking question that you get answered.
That's the hardest bit, is trying to figure out what I'm trying to think. What are the audience thinking? What are they? What questions are people thinking in their heads while they're listening that they'd want answering?
So what you want to answer, sort of thing. Definitely.
So, it's definitely been a privilege, to be honest. I think we've been lucky with a lot of the guests we've had on.
Do you do all international and everything, don't you? It's not just.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Is it easier to get the UK ones, or?
I would say because we're recording on Sundays, it's not usually an issue. Fucking last week, Mitchell Gerb, you're talking about organ harvesting in China before. Yeah. We had this guy called Mitchell Gerber on last week, who's he's in Vietnam. He stayed up till...
I listened to it, I've heard him on other podcasts, and he's South African, isn't he? Something,
he's South African.
Vietnam, when he,
Well, he stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning for us to record.
Very passionate about his... I funny enough, I started looking at that is it Falun Gong? Is that how you say it? I can't remember the actual...
Falun Gong.
Falun Gong. I thought there must be something in it. There's only like 5 exercises you do, I think, for it. So I thought I'd have a go at... It's like you do your fucking... No, whatever he said, they're harvesting the organs or whatever because they've got like superpowers or something like that. I thought if I start studying it, maybe I'll be able to fly or something like that. You know what I mean? No, I won't be able to fly, but if I disappear, it's because the Chinese have seen me saying I've started doing Falun Gong, so they're going to come and abduct me. I'm about to get human traffic, back to bloody land because
I don't think doing one exercise counts as being in tune with your body and that.
They're going to be very disappointed when they discover what's up with my liver. I tell you. Oh no, it's so unbalanced, man.
You're going to wake up in a bathtub full of ice cubes with a scar where your kidney used to be.
Awesome. What the fuck? Whoa.
And then the next day there'll be like a package with your kidney sent back to you because it's useless. This is not the one we want. Send it back. It's infected. Right. We don't want another infection breaking out in our country.
That's bonkers, though. That's bonkers. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna try it. I'll keep you updated on my Falun Gong, whether I've end up with superpowers or whatever.
I'm gonna have a go. I think I'll have a go at it. Where did you find the?
It's spreading. It's doubled already. Just YouTube.
Okay, I'll do it as well then. Tripled.
Hey, look at that!
Jesus Christ! For the end of the year, it'll be all over England, and the government will have to close it down.
That's it. That's the idea to take on the New World Order is Falun Gong. I just looked on YouTube, but I couldn't. Obviously, I can't understand Mandarin or whatever language he was talking. But it was just these couple of people on a beach, and it said underneath, just copy the man's things, not copy the man's thing. That's a bit weird. But yeah, and it's just like this Chinese bloke going, well, I don't know what and then the bloke just goes,
it's Irish,
makes it heart and here's an idea, fucking hell. Drink your fucking Guinness. That's what it was. But yeah, I think there's I don't know. There must be something in it, I think.
All right, well,
it's like anything Tai Chi in that, but yeah.
We'll all start on Monday, and then we'll check back in 3 months and see if any of us have developed any superpowers.
Okay. Yes, we'll do that, yeah.
I know, don't you have to stop drinking and drinking coffee and eating meat and stuff as well?
Do you know what? Just copy the exercises. You can't understand what he's saying, so...
The proper practitioner of it do that, don't they?
Maybe that's why they're super healthy and it's nothing to do with the fucking exercises.
I think that's probably why, yeah.
Yeah. They've never smoked or drunk or whatever, and
they don't. I'm pretty sure he said they don't smoke or drink or eat meat or.
Well, I'm going to try it. Maybe it will help.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'll try the exercise. Maybe
might help with my astral projection or anything like that. So, what paranormal shit have you experienced, Phil?
Fucking none.
You could talk about. No,
I don't think I've had any anything out of the ordinary, paranormal wise.
Ghosts, nothing. Sleep paralysis.
My missus says she's
abduction or.
Yeah, anal. I've been anal probed a few times, but you know what's happens in the bedroom should stay in the bedroom, really.
Apparently. Fair enough. That shut me up, didn't it?
No, my missus.
Your wife also like David Attenborough's voice.
She says she's seen a ghost when she was a kid, but you know, I think your mind can play tricks on you. You know, I've not experienced anything personally, so and I'm not. That doesn't mean that I think it's bullshit or anything. It's just I've no first-hand experience that I can relate to. So
I think a lot of people have had a little bit, but not necessarily a lot. Do you know, like I think, or maybe people experience stuff, but it's easy to brush off stuff as nothing. But also on the opposite way, it's easy to think that something you've seen or experienced is something paranormal when it's not. You know, we tend to sort of make stuff out of what it is. Me and my brother, when we were younger, I don't know if you've heard this when we talked on a podcast about it, but when we were like 6 or 7. He's 18 months older than me. Obviously, he looks it, doesn't he? Right? We'd get up in the morning. Look at a weekend or whatever, and just sort of fuck about with the Lego and stuff like that. But one morning we got up and we did. Actually, the place where we lived was a little bit haunted. It wasn't a very nice place to live in. But we got up in the morning, and both of us. Well, I think Lee said to me, "Can you see what I see?" And basically, we were looking in the corner. Say like, Lee, move your head out of the way. Just move your head to the side, like. Oh, you can't see what I'm pointing at. What the fuck am I doing? Like, imagine the corner of it.
Up in the corner up there by the ceiling. Like
if there was like a dinner plate sized black spider basically in our front room, and it was only like a little flat. I mean, you don't get that shit in England. We both saw this big black, massive. I understand it now. It's probably like a shadow being or something like that. You know, I don't know if you listen to podcasts about shadow
figures,
basically. But it was like a big fucking black spider. We both like, and we legged it back to the bedroom, and
we just left the room, closed the door, and went back to bed. And we got later, it was gone. But
now did it move?
Didn't well, not as far. I don't remember. It's a fucking long time ago now.
I mean, you would say it could be a trick of the mind, but both of us saw it at the same time, and it was a real, a pitch black as tar kind of like I see in my head, like now.
Spider shape, had legs.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
anyway, that was one of the things.
Yeah.
We've had a few, but I haven't had any. And a lot of time, like I can say stuff in my past where I might have had an experience, but I'll brush it off as like a trick of the light or shadows and that sort of thing. I'm more like that. Whereas Richard would be, oh no, it's definitely a ghost, definitely something contacting me.
Well, I'd done a delivery earlier, and I was walking down the stairs earlier, and I really felt like there was someone behind me, and I was like, oh, it feels really weird. I looked up, someone was behind me. But it was like, it felt like, it was, but it was like, that's the thing, it can feel paranormal stuff, but it's not. It was like, that's, anyway, that's not a paranormal story, but.
No, but I mean, if you ever come across Rupert Sheldrake, the author, scientist?
Don't know.
No, but
it doesn't ring a bell. The name
rings a bell.
It's a biologist, like Cambridge biologist, and a lot of his books look into, like you said, the feeling of someone watching you from behind. I mean, that's a real phenomenon, and he sort of does experiments on this sort of stuff and investigates it and whatnot. And obviously, he's sort of chastised by the mainstream as being, into woo or whatever. But
everything is.
There are real phenomena that don't have sufficient explanation.
So many. Have you ever had your tarot cards read or anything like that? You've been to anything?
I've not, and I know that you're into the tarot. I'm interested in the tarot because it falls under esoterica, and I've not read a proper book on the tarot. I've read a few books that I've had like an odd chapter on the tarot, so I know a bit about the history and the sort of the way it evolved into the standard playing deck we have today with the clubs, the spades and the hearts and whatnot. But you're well into the tarot, aren't you?
Well, I'm not an expert or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I do. I've got a few decks and I do use them, and they do seem to.
And occasionally on our podcast, it'll just pull out stuff if we're having a bit of a laugh. It's like, oh, is this true? Pull out a card and we'll see if we can come up with a meaning.
I do like a yearly forecast for us, and no, I mean it's it's fascinating that you can do a reading, even like for yourself. You do a reading for yourself, and it can give you directions and stuff like that. Obviously, you can link anything to anything, can't you? When you're doing stuff. But it does seem to correlate. So me and my wife, I do like a yearly one, like a monthly one for us, sort of thing. And it does seem to correlate, and I'm getting better at it. But I've struggled. I don't know. I struggle to remember sort of details of stuff. So you need to know what each card links into everything. So invariably, if I'm doing it, I'm like, I've got to pull out my book, flick through. So what the fuck is that? You can there are some cards that I sort of know, and I know what that will link in with that.
And each card will have different meanings for different contexts as well. And there'll be different schools of thought within like the tarot community. Yeah, it's like so a lot of it's down to interpretation, but. Think of like things like divination and augury. These things have been around for thousands of years. Yeah. Up until pretty recently, to be honest. And there was
sorry, go on.
I was just going to say
I'm going to butt in quickly. I was going to say about interpretation because it is interpretation is almost all of it really. How you interpret it altogether. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, I had to get out.
Oh, but if I'm a big fan of like ancient Rome. And divination was something that was practiced religiously. Literally, it was practiced religiously in ancient Rome, reading the entrails of animals and whatnot. And we look at that and we read a history book today and think, oh, those fucking idiot savages, thinking that you could read the entrails. But there was a story a couple of years ago from this pig farmer in Canada, and he could predict the weather by looking at the spleen of his pigs, because there was a biological reason. The pigs somehow knew about the crops and the seasons and what was coming, and by analysing the pig spleen, he could tell. It was like a weatherman.
Because they developed that way because, mental. Right, it's like the tea leaf. I mean, reading an entrail and that is no different to someone reading tea leaves. Well, now I don't have a clue how they do it. They see certain shapes and stuff like that. And,
tea leaves, I think that's different. Tea leaves are pretty random, whereas the pig spleen, there's an actual biological mechanism there. There's a mechanism, and if you have the knowledge to interpret what you're seeing, you could extrapolate. Whereas I would say the tea leaves is more sort of a random. I would say that's 100% interpretation. I don't think there's anything in reading tea leaves, but
maybe. I couldn't do it, but I went to when I went away early on in the year. I went to Hastings. I think it was. I like going to the occult shops and stuff there, just see if I can pick up a tarot card pack, which I did. I picked up one, different one, like a spirit one. But there was this little plastic. I'm a bit weird, There's this little plastic box, and it had pendulum in it. And I sort of put my hand over, and it felt really hot. And I thought, there's something really, it's drawing me in. I'm going to buy this. So I bought it. And I ain't got I try and use it and it don't do nothing. I'm like, well, I think the pendulum suckered me in to buy it and wasted £25 on this thing that just doesn't move. You know what I mean? Now I tried to use it. Why was I trying to find something? I can't in the bedroom. It was like, I don't know. We'd lost something. I was like, I'll use this to try and find it, and it did start going but it didn't help me find anything. It was just like rocking. Anyway, that's my pendulum. Pendulums don't work for me anyway. Like tarot cards, cool.
Something that sounds sort of more like trying to look for something. That sounds more like dowsing and ley lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I suppose it was that kind of thing. But I thought it might point. Well, I thought it would point me in the right direction of where I'm supposed to look. I can't for the life of me think what I was looking for now, but it didn't, because we couldn't find what the fuck it was I was actually trying to look for. I bought a magic mirror years ago. It's a box with a black mirror on it, and I thought I'd use that to try and contact spirits and stuff like that. It never works. Maybe I've not paid it enough attention, but
maybe now's the time. after you do your meditation exercises, perhaps you'll like be more in tune.
Maybe.
Have either of you two tried affirmations, positive affirmations?
Yeah. Fuck
that shit.
No, it's magic, basically. Magic. It's power of thought to make stuff happen, create money, etc. Yeah, that is what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it. I think it's more psychology than magic.
Wow, what is psychology if it's not magic?
Well, who's the guy? Who's the Dilbert guy? The guy who does Dilbert. I'm blanking on his name now. The Dilbert cartoon, but I mean, he does positive affirmations, and the way he explains it is that by sort of doing this, writing this thing down twice a day, or whatever, 10 lines of whatever you're looking for, you're sort of priming your subconscious to notice opportunities that you wouldn't notice without doing the affirmations.
Yeah,
so it's something that sounds sort of quite supernatural or magic, but he has like a more prosaic, ordinary explanation for it through psychology, which I find intriguing. I've never tried it.
Oh, you should try it. Maybe maybe you don't need to try it. Well, the idea is that fault's a thing, isn't it? You know that. If you heard of the book by very famous book, Faults are Things. So fucking I've just had complete blank. Rich and Grow Napoleon.
What I'm dealing with here.
Napoleon.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, Faults are Things basically, and it's that kind of thing where you think all the time whenever you're doing anything like this podcast, you think of it first. I know you can say it's just your idea, but you think of it first, and then afterwards it comes into being. So that's the idea. It's like anything that you've got in your life, anything you've created, anything you've made, anything that's happened. Apart from getting run over accidentally, you wouldn't think of that. But generally, like you've got your garage with your podcast studio. Is that because you thought about it? You know, maybe you planned it in your head how that was going to go, and it's come to sort of through fruition through thinking about it first. I know, you just made an idea, but that is the idea. Thoughts go up, and then you manifest it. I just said that's the idea of magic. You manifest it, sort of. There. I mean, I am into magic as well. I don't do it so much now, but I used to do it. My biggest one that I had was like, if you heard of, a monkey's paw. Have you heard the story of the monkey's paw? Is it like you get 3 wishes or whatever because there's an old monkey's paw, and then you wish for whatever, but it's like you'd wish you're going to be a millionaire, but you're like you get both your legs chopped off by a combine harvester and get the insurance, or some shit like that. Anyway, I've done this. I used to be. I'd just be like, I'll just do this magic, and I'm pretty sure I might have cut myself and done some blood magic or something. I was in a band, and I wanted us to get some really, really fucking good gigs or whatever. And then, so I'd done this, and then I went, sent off to get some good gigs, and we got replied to a few places. I can't remember now because it was like 20 years ago or something like that, almost. But we got the garage in London, and then some other good gigs come through. Then our singer had a nervous breakdown, basically. And we split up, and the guitarist was like, "No, I can't be dealing with this shit." And it was like, we got all these cool gigs, and then it was just like, poof, like that. And it's like, careful what you wish for. The magic might have worked, but it didn't work because I didn't fucking get it. You know what I mean? So there's been other things that I've done, and it's actually worked. But I don't know. I had some issues myself up here, so it might be because of messing about with the other side without protecting myself properly. I mean, now I'll use protections and stuff like that, but when you're first starting off, you're like, I can fucking light candles and kill people, you know what I mean? Because it's not like I killed anyone.
Yeah, I've got some books that I've not gotten round to yet by guys like Eliphas Levi, and these.
That was one of the first books. I don't know where the book's gone, but it was one of the first. It's a big Transcendental Magic, is it? Possibly.
Yeah,
that's one of
it is. Yeah,
pretty much the first book. I found it in a £1 bookstore or something like that. It's like, I'll have that, and then didn't understand a word of it, but it still got me into leading on to other stuff and that. But yeah, that's and Aleister Crowley, and he's a douche, but you just these are the things that you sort of read when you first sort of getting into magic, and don't understand half of it still, but.
I'm interested in from a sort of esoteric study point of view. I don't think I'd ever try and practice. I just don't want to get involved in that shit.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's not, I don't know if it says it's got a worse. I think when me saying it, it's got a worse rap than it actually has. But saying that, I've just told you a story of when I got gigs and then my singer had a nervous breakdown, so I can't really.
I think in about 3 weeks or so, we've got 2 guys. One was in the OTO.
All right, okay.
And one was in the Golden Dawn.
Oh.
And they both fell out with it, and they sort of turned I can't, what it's called, the Occult. They're from another podcast in the States called the Occult Rejects. Yeah.
I actually downloaded their first podcast today, actually, just to have a listen and see what they were about. So yeah, they were like all right, yeah. And they want to disseminate. Sorry, go on.
Well, we've had a few practitioners on. Like we had a woman called Georgia Van Ralt who started her own order, Temple of the something or other, and another guy from Austria, Rudolph, who was a practitioner. So it's just for balance, really, because I want to get Joe. I'm going to ask Joe Rupe from Fringe Radio, because he's a practitioner as well.
Right.
It's just trying to balance things out, because you can end up going down one road and just hearing one side of things, and you got to keep an open mind on all this stuff, haven't you? And try and balance it out. But I'm not going to be. I don't fancy it. I don't fancy getting involved in like black magic.
I used to. I'd go to when we. It's not black magic. I used to go to Witch Fest. We've heard of Witch Fest. Witch Fest UK is like the biggest witch sort of gathering in the world. They do that every year, but obviously haven't been able to do it because of sort of COVID the last couple of years. When I met my wife, it's all about me now. When I met my wife, she was pretty one of the, I'd say like almost like not once a hardcore Christian, but you don't really get Christians in this country I sort of knew of, but she would go to church and stuff like that. And as soon as I sort of got with her, I told her, I was like, I'm going to show you my wand. I did. But seriously, I did. That was one of because it's quite what I was into was kind of quite taboo. So I was like very open. Anyway, it turned out we got married after I think 10 months together, but I did actually get married in a church, even though I was completely against it. But she came to Witch Fest for me like the day after, like as a sort of a compromise. So she's not so sort of Christian now, but I know I'm maybe not so, I don't know, witchy. I don't know, but it was just like a compromise. So you had to sort of see both sides of it. And
that's something I've definitely noticed, is there's definitely a rift or a tension between these sort of, in the conspiracy media. There's definitely a tension between like occult practitioners and proselytizers and sort of Christians or born again Christians, and it was most evident. I don't know if you listened to the Union of the Unwanted where they were talking about occult stuff, and it was
that the last one, or
no, it's a couple of months ago. Yeah. It's a while ago.
Okay. They really don't trust. They don't. Everything's like black magic, isn't it? As far as the Christians are concerned, you can't just do good magic. I think I listened to one of the Tinfoil Hats, and they had Weishaupt. What's his name? Isaac Weishaupt, and then some other bloke who was practicing. He sort of idolized this other bloke, idolized Madonna, as well into Kabbalah. So yeah, that was that thing where one was very much. Because even Sam Tripoli doesn't. He's like, oh, occult stuff's fucking bad shit. But it's not, it's just, I don't know. What do I know? Anyway, where were we?
About you, Lee, have you ever dabbled with occult stuff?
Yeah, not too much. I don't know, because I'm one of the, I sort of think it could work, but I haven't really seen it working, if you know what I mean. I'll give it I don't know. I'll give it a go. I don't know if I'll give it a go. I've done runes. Runes. I used to do that a little bit. I haven't really. I sort of drift into these things and I have a look at them and I think, oh, maybe I should try that, and then I just drift out of it and forget and go off and do something else and forget. Maybe come back a couple of years later and forgotten everything I originally learned. Have to start again. That's my process of stuff.
I mean, that's like one. Sorry, go on.
I was quite interested in like the dream stuff, because Rick's like a big, like most podcast. Well, every podcast generally ask him if he's had any like decent, meaningful dreams. I usually ask him. And apart from maybe 2 podcasts where most of them are just rubbish. They're just dreams. We have a laugh. We have a laugh about it, and he's like, "Oh, well, I think it's meaningful." It's like it doesn't sound very meaningful to me. But I do like the idea of doing stuff in dreams. Where you sort of meditate a little bit, maybe go to sleep, have a bit of what's it called, lucid dreaming. I've tried to do that, and there was a point where I was, I would be meditating, concentrating before I went to bed, and there were a few times I've had sort of a lucid bit. And then after like maybe few days later, I'll just forget about it, and a month will go by, and then I'll think, "Oh fuck, I haven't been doing that." And then that's really my process.
What have you tried using any techniques for generating lucid dreaming?
Yep. Well,
which ones?
Probably when I was trying it, but like I say, I forget now. I just don't.
Looking at your hands and stuff like that during the day, and
there's that
reality checking. It's hard to remember because you just get taken.
Yeah, you're just doing your daily work and stuff, and you think I should be trying to think of this stuff. That's what I mean, and then I forget, and then
the only sort of
a lot of like
2 hacks that I can think of is that one, looking at your hands and making sure they look normal, and the other one I heard about was knocking on a door each time you walk in. Have you heard that one? Each time you go through each time you go through a doorway, give the door a knock, just a tap. And then apparently, when you're lucid dreaming, you'll go to a door and you like your hand will go through it or something, and that'll be the trigger.
Yeah.
And think, right, lucid, Superman time. I'm lucid dreaming straight up into the space.
I do that.
I never end up flying. I always end up like being really rubbish at flying.
Because you're a bit scared.
I end up like jumping, and for a minute I'll be up in the air, and then I end up coming down, and my belly's like scraping along the ground, and I'm just like almost gliding along the floor. This is pointless. I end up doing that when I'm flying dreams.
Oh, man.
I did have a thing. Was it last year? I went away to Cornwall, and we were staying in this valley. And it was it's on the Cornwall-Devon border. There was like a little, out the back of the place we were staying, there was this little river. And if you went one side, you were in Cornwall, you crossed this little bridge, other side, and you were in Devon. It was in this valley. There was like 3 houses. And there was like across the bridge, there was this little meadow. And whoever had set up the house, put some stones in like a stone circle. It wasn't an old stone, they just set it up. And one day I was just sitting in this meadow, and I thought, I'll just do a little bit of meditation. I was leaning against this stone, and I was just doing breathing, and I'd been doing it for about a minute. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I had this eye appeared and was looking at me. And it was like a, I wouldn't say it wasn't no, it wasn't like the Eye of Sauron. It was like something, but it wasn't. It didn't. I had a feeling with it. It wasn't quite human, and it was like just appeared in my head. And I snapped out of it. I was like, "Oh fuck, what was that?" And I just got up and sort of left and didn't go back. It sort of scared me. It was like, what the fuck was? It was like something was there, and I had a feeling that it was looking at me because I felt like because I'd been meditating, I'd made a connection with something. I don't know, and then afterwards, it's like, oh, you're just probably a bit of a dream, really, aren't you? That's my angle. I just think I was dreaming.
I always say to him,
I don't know.
I think he's more psychic or whatever than he makes out, because he does these little things and he gets this stuff, and I'm like, fucking trying to meditate for hours. Come on, get an eye up here. And hey, you didn't tell about your story of the runes. I can't remember the voice. You heard a voice or something when you were doing. What was that?
Yeah, that was years ago. When I first started it. I was I obviously you get the books and you sit there and you read the books and you're doing the runes and you meditate on them and you're trying to find a thing. And one I was used to work nights and I was working. I can't remember entirely, but I was thinking about the runes as I was working. And I was like going through them in my head, and I think I was like on the lunch break. It was night. I was in a bit of the building all by myself, and I was meditating on them. And all of a sudden, in my head, I heard a voice, and it was imagine like a Viking. Like I don't know the words, but it was like like that language, and it was like a rough voice in my head going like as if it was speaking like that. I know, imagine a Viking saying something in a thing. It was like that, but it was really sort of intense in my head, and the voice was really gruff, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck was that?" It's another moment where I was like, "Nope, I'm leaving this alone for a little while." And I think just That's what. And then the same
I
thing
think
again.
you should smoke more drugs and do more rooms, man. Like,
I was thinking afterwards. I thought, I was probably a bit tired, and I was, probably falling asleep, and it was a dream. But
that's the
maybe it wasn't.
That's the trance state you need to get in for that kind of stuff, isn't it? That's the whole sort of point of it. Really, what you need.
I talked myself out of it being anything special. I think.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to rationalise things.
That's the problem. I do always try.
Maybe you
just
need to let things go a bit more.
Let it go, bro.
Let it go, bro.
Let it go.
Yeah. Well, when I do my whatever that meditation's called, what's it called? Feng Shit meditation. Qui-Gon Jinn meditation. Yeah? When I do my Qui-Gon Jinn, I'll see if I can connect with something.
Falun Gong.
Falun Gong. I was looking on my YouTube thingy. Falun Gong. Yeah.
Big long dong.
Have you ever done a Ouija board or anything, Phil? Ever? So you've done nothing like.
I won't touch it. I'm just not. It's not like I'm like a religious guy or anything. But
a little bit scared.
Yeah, you're right to be scared of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You need to, if you're 100%. Going to mess about with that stuff, you need to have the proper respect.
Yeah, I'm not.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to get in.
He's got the Egyptian whatever thing on behind him. What is that? And you've got a strange African mask. It looks like that from behind me on your over your left hand shoulder. What is that? The mask. What is that?
It is the mask.
It's the mask
from the Jim Carrey film.
Oh, well done. Not so scary.
It's the mask of Loki.
Ah.
And the other mask was my 9-year-old's home learning project.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We made it on a weekend.
That's good.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of work, but he got a good mark. I think he got an A.
It's a good prop.
Yeah. So, did you do most of that work?
No.
I remember that.
Just pointers.
It's my kid's project. Yeah, I'll just help you with this bit and that bit. You just sit over there.
I love it. I love
swords or shit like that.
anything to do with ancient Egypt. I love it. So yeah, that was like that when the home. We get like a list at the beginning of each school term for home learning projects. And it came up for Dylan like this term's gonna be ancient Egypt, and I was like,
you went yes.
Come on, what are we gonna do? So like,
you had like 6 months and started straight.
I bet you consider like building a pyramid in your garden or something, didn't you? Out of real stone. It's like, yeah, let's do this properly.
Fuck, I don't know how.
Come on, lad.
Do you know? I know that they built the pyramid, but I've no fucking idea. I've no idea how they did it.
Do you think maybe they didn't build it? It was there and they just sort of moved in?
No.
It was built by someone a lot. Obviously, they're Egyptians because it's in Egypt, but a lot older than
they found
anyone ever.
They found stuff pretty recently in the last few years of people papyruses of. There was a guy who had a boat, and one of his jobs was shipping stones from the quarry to Giza. So. As far as I'm concerned, the ancient.
How big was this boat?
I want to say about 50 feet long, maybe.
Because some of these stones, how much they weigh?
Well, now the main masonry, the blocks are about 2 tons each. Right, but like the blocks in the relieving chambers, in the roofs of the relieving chambers above the king's chamber, they're granite, and they came from Aswan, which is about 1,000 kilometers south.
Yeah.
And they weigh maybe 40, 50 tons a piece. So
it's like the logistics of it, did they have something else, to help them?
But I mean, that's nothing. Those 40-ton granite blocks are nothing. Have you heard of the Trilithon at Baalbek?
Yeah.
The Trilithon is an ancient site in Lebanon at Baalbek, and it's a Roman temple complex. I think there was 3 temples there. I want to say one for Venus, one for Bacchus, and the main one was Temple of Jupiter because he was the king of the gods. Anyway, the Temple of Jupiter was built on this platform, if you like, and the retaining walls of this podium, if you like, for the Temple of Jupiter have these 3 blocks in called the Trilithon. led down. They're raised above the ground level, but they're 800 tons, roughly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how the...
But then, like, I mean, that site has been known about for thousands of years, but then not so long ago, I want to say like in the last 50 years, 60 years, they found the quarry where they got these stones from, and there's 2 stones in the quarry. One's called the Stone of the Pregnant Mother, and I think that's 1,100 tons. And there's another block attached.
There's a reason why that's still in the quarry, because it was 1,100 tons. But
why not just chop up? Why not just chop them up? Why would you put an 800, 900 ton stone? Why would you not use 100 ton stones? It's insane. And like, if you look at
to prove they could do it,
exactly, yeah, to prove they could do it.
Like, they're gods, they're doing it for the gods, and they 100% believed in the gods. Or I still think it was done some other way.
I mean, you go on Wikipedia and look at what the most powerful crane in the world is. It's the Chinese ship cranes that they have at the harbours, and these massive ship cranes. Ship cranes they're pretty shit, because they were made in China.
Yeah.
But these are these cranes. They're fixed, they're stationary, and their job is to lift up ships, so they can lift up about 800 tons. But they're fixed. They can't.
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't do it. We couldn't move those blocks in where they are now. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
So how the fuck did they do it?
Fuck knows. And also, I always think about the manpower, because everyone needed to be working, normal people. They say it was all, they got normal people out of the fields and that, but they needed to be fucking working from 9 till, or 5 till whatever, to do the crops and everything like that all the fucking time, just to feed themselves. They wouldn't have been able to take that manpower, even slaves, but they still need to feed the slaves, and it's just like, it's just mind-boggling, the logistics of it. It's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. Like,
if you talk to an Egyptologist, and we've talked to a couple, they'll say that Khufu crippled the country's economy. That from that fourth dynasty, I think it was, that from that point on there was a massive decline, because this sort of megalomaniac decided to put the whole country essentially at this task of building the Great Pyramid, and that's why as from that point the pyramids get smaller and shittier.
Because they run out of money.
Yeah, he crippled the economy. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm open-minded.
Did it, or it was some other kind of, I don't know, technology, and that's what fascinates me. All they're different. Just the idea that something else.
There are things like you say, the quarries where they got the stones from. They can, that is there. It's not as if it's magic stone away.
It didn't say it was. It's still got the fucking things.
Yeah, but
it didn't say they zapped him in from space. But a lot of people come from Mars.
There's the
maybe they got slaves from Mars to come down.
Maybe they did. They know how the stones are cut. They've got the markings on the stones to show they use these sort of tools.
Yeah, but no,
people would dismiss that. No, it's lasers, magical lasers.
Some of them are so fine, aren't they? That they don't. It literally would need to have been cut by a sort of precision laser thingied.
I mean, there is an argument to say that Khufu didn't build the pyramid.
Was an alien.
Well, that he just modified it.
Yeah.
Or restored it.
Moved in,
yeah. But the thing is, when you look into the logistics of it, and you work out, I think there are definitely holes in the story that were told. They tell us that it was built in 20 years because it was a tomb. But if you do the maths and you work out 2.3 million blocks, divide it by 20 for the amount of blocks you've got to cut, transport, and lay in a year, and you divide that by 52, and divide that by working 7 days, 12 hours a day, flat out for 20 years, they've still got to cut, transport, and lay a block like every 3 minutes. It doesn't make sense. There's something not right.
Out, but well done. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
There's something not right. I've done the maths before, because I'm reading these books saying, it was built in 20 years, and this is how many blocks there are. I'm thinking, well, you can't, that's not that. There's something missing. There has to be.
Yeah.
Hang on, we should have Phil on the podcast to talk about this. Oh, hang on, he is. Yeah, no, definitely.
And the Sphinx is another big one for Egypt, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy. Have you heard of Robert Schoch, the geologist?
No.
He reckons that...
I probably heard him talk, but I just forget the names of people, and I go to say, this person is like... But anyway, yeah, tell me the story.
Well, the Sphinx is in like a pit. It's called the Sphinx enclosure. Like, only really the head peers above the top of the pit. That's why it used to get filled with sand and buried. Yeah. But this guy, Robert Schoch, who's a geologist, I think he's University of Boston. Don't know if he's still there. But he went like 30 years ago and looked at this. It's called the Sphinx enclosure. And if you think of the pit, like the internal walls of the pit, he was looking at these sort of striations in the rocks and saying, that's water erosion.
That's it, yeah. I was going to say that, yeah.
And so Graham Hancock extrapolates that in his book, Fingerprints of the Gods, and says, well, the last time there was significant rainfall at the Giza Plateau was 10,000 years ago. So does that mean the Sphinx is 10,000 years old? Whereas,
I think that's the only one.
Oh, nice one, nice one. He'd be my dream guest if I'd, have a few handful. But Graham Hancock, I love his books. They're fascinating.
Amazing, yeah.
Have you read The Sign and the Seal about the Ark of the Covenant?
No, the only other one I've got of his is Supernatural. Supernatural.
Oh, that's a novel, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's all about that one.
Supernatural. I thought that one was a novel. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's talking about how like art and drugs and stuff helped with the evolution of man, and all about the drawings. It's been a while. It's a big book, and it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's due a new book, Hancock. He's not released a new book for a few years.
I don't know. He finds the time. He always seems to be sort of investigating and doing stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Listening to him talk and that. That's what I wish I could remember. I mean, obviously, I'd be really, really fucking smart, wouldn't I? And be able to write books if I can remember everything that because it goes in. You remember some stuff, and then I try and tell people, and it's like blah, 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 blah. Graham Hancock says, I don't know, history's a lie. I think I put on you were talking about Göbekli Tepe on the Discord, and I put history's a big whopping lie. You were like, what? I was like, I just think like the mainstream, what I think certainly what we were taught in. I've only been to school for what? How old am I? Like 30 years or whatever. But you're taught in school that the slaves built the pyramids, and man definitely evolved from this, blah blah blah. But there's nothing to say, go and investigate this. It may be a bit different. History may be a bit alternative. It's not necessarily the science is settled. Do you know what I mean? They don't. There's no. Expand your mind and.
I'm pretty sure I was taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did. Yeah, and
there was no one there before at all. It was empty.
Well, that's sort of It's a hangover of a Western bias.
Western bias.
Yeah.
Is that still taught nowadays? Is that probably not? Is it?
I'm sure it's.
Things change.
I don't know.
Like the
probably not allowed to even mention it. Like
the slaves built the pyramids. It's like they know the slaves didn't. I mean, there probably was slaves there, but it wasn't a slave force that built the pyramid. It's not. That's a thing that people know now.
They weren't paid. They weren't slaves, but they weren't paid because coinage wasn't invented.
No, but they were given food and shelter and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Aren't
you
slaves?
come over here and do this.
They were provided
Aren't slaves. I
Sorry?
doubt they had a choice.
No, but it's.
It makes you pretty much a slave, doesn't it?
We
give you food, but you've got to build the pyramid.
But when you're
no more than any of us. No more than any of us are slaves.
No less. No, exactly. Yeah. I'm not a slave. I'm a free man. I'm not a number. I'm a free man. God damn it!
I think the history thing, it's one of those things that's slow to change, isn't it? People like new findings come out and people resist, especially people who like professors, stuff who built their careers on a certain thing. They're unwilling to accept that they could be wrong and there could be a different interpretation. They got the times wrong. Stuff like that.
I was listening. Yeah, they don't like it. I was listening to it. This is going to completely change
the
subject a bit.
Anything, any science.
The High Wire. Listen to the High Wire earlier. It was one of Del Bigtree went on an interview with this Australian bloke and a couple of scientists and some other lady there. And they put across there, COVID, you have to get your vaccine. And Del Bigtree come in and was like going these stats about, the infections in Israel, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, I'm not listening to this, man. It's like they just will not, like they've got their own, this is it, you have to follow this kind of thing. They just won't, they're just like, no, it's rubbish, you're lying, or whatever. But he'd have stats and they couldn't come back with any actual scientific shit,
People get so invested in a certain worldview, and they become dogmatic,
and they get paid to say a certain thing as well. Obviously, scientists do, but
that's it's a spectrum. So you do have people who are financially invested in a certain worldview, and you have people who are educated in a certain worldview, and it's difficult. If you've got a certain view of the world, and then something that comes along that turns it on its head, that hurts psychologically, and it takes courage to say, guess I was wrong on that.
It is very, very difficult.
I myself, even having, I listen to lots of podcasts. Sometimes they'll be talking about history, and they'll be saying a certain thing in like an alternative, and I think, do I want to believe this? I mean, and a lot of I find myself originally just thinking no, and sort of sticking more with what we know or we think we know is true, and then after a little, I think, just give them a chance, and perhaps what they're about the whole Tartarus thing. Is it Tartarus?
Tartarus.
Tartaria. I'm not sure about that.
Cognitive dissonance, isn't it? My mum, I talked about her earlier about the COVID thing, because I always
talk about my mum like
that. she bought me. Have you the book Vaxxed? Do you know what that is, Phil? It's she bought me it, and I was like, I can't read it. She was like, well, give me it back. I was like, all right, I'll read some of it. And I thought I'll have a look. And as soon as literally the first chapter, there's this woman, Susan Shaw, whatever the fuck her name is. She's gone away to Wales and the COVID thing's on. And instantly she's talking to someone who's a conspiracy theorist. And they're going, I don't think I'll take the vax, etc., because you don't know what's in it. And she was like, and it might be to do with 5G. But it was just like, I didn't want to read it because I just don't want to read it. And I thought I'll open it up, and it's just straight away it's some fucking. Anyway, I'm cognitive dissonance is the other way, because I just, maybe I need to have a bit more of an open mind, but I don't know, I'm still not going to go and get the vaccine. I'm not doing that. Not yet. I'll give it till maybe when I'm 70. They'll let me into a supermarket then. Maybe I'll be able to, when I want to go to Greece or whatever on my 70th birthday.
What booster will be on by then?
Yeah, the 50th booster. It's the 23rd strain.
Booster. Yeah,
variant.
They call them a booster, but it's not a booster, is it? It's just another shot because it's the other one's run out.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not a booster. You're just getting another. That's just your third vaccine. It's nothing to do with being a booster.
No,
your fourth vaccine or your fifth vaccine.
I remember the week when Pfizer did their press release saying that it was 95% effective, and then one after another, 4 hours later, AstraZeneca, J&J, they all come out with the same number. They were pushed into it, but there were press releases. That was like the pre-program, and now where we're at, I mean, it's looking like they're not very good. If you look at what's happening in Israel and.
Very good at all.
No, I think it's all corruption, to be honest.
It's not Ron Seal, is it? It don't do what it says on it. It's all corruption, to be honest.
It's all corruption. It's just all corrupt.
I watched
the whole system.
I had to self-isolate because my stepson got COVID, so we had to basically all sort of isolate. And we watched. Me and my wife watched Godfather Trilogy. And watching it, it was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I'd watched it before, but I didn't get it, when I watched it before. Now it was like almost like watching government. It's like, and afterwards, like, that is what government is. The mafia is literally there. That's what it is. There's nothing more, nothing less. Well, I can't say nothing less. Nothing more that the government is mafia. Criminal. That's it. There's no democracy as far as I'm concerned. It's nothing. We've got no say in it. They just they've got their bottom end. They're going to kill whoever they want to kill, and
I love the Godfather films.
Brilliant.
They're very very long, but
very long. Yeah, it did take a while. Yeah, to be fair. Yeah,
they're very immersive though. Part 1 and part 3 is not that great.
I really enjoyed it actually.
Did you?
Actually, yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to and I was kind of I wasn't going to watch it, and I read the prognosis, and it was like it actually wasn't. They didn't say it was too bad, apart from his daughter's acting in it. It was like supposed to be really crap. I was like, but yeah, I quite actually enjoyed part 3 more than I thought I was going to. It was all the Cuba stuff and that in it, wasn't it? That was in the third one, wasn't it?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what it's like for me every day when I think about conspiracies. It's like back in Twitter. It's like, whoa. So someone sends me, you'll miss it. Jamie sends me your TikTok video. It's like, someone's being dragged away by the police. And it's like, what is it? It's probably got nothing to do with COVID, but you're like, oh. It's like
that was a disturbing video, though.
It was, but it could be anything. Even
it could be. It could be like a psycho, and
it context because I haven't got TikTok.
Was that the video with it looked like it was in a hospital and there's a couple of police officers, and then the little girl, guy who you assume is the dad is holding this sort of 4-year-old girl, and then they separate him and the kid goes running under a table like friggin' those face huggers from Aliens. And everyone's in bits crying. It was distressing.
He's like, the police have to hold him down. Yeah. I mean, there's we presume it's like they're taken away to get a vaccine, but there's no real context there. We don't know what's going on, do we?
This is what that pisses me off, is that, I want to know more. I want to know what's going on there. Is this something I need to be concerned about? Or, like you said, context is everything, isn't it?
I think it's an organ transplant in the hospital.
Maybe she's Falun Gong, maybe.
Yeah,
she's like a master in Falun Gong, and they've finally got her. I don't know.
Like a lot of those videos, you don't know if they're true, do you? People post stuff and say, "Oh, I don't know, my friend's just died after the COVID jab or something else," and you just like, you don't know if they're true or real.
There was one went round this week, in, I think it was Sydney. They had this soccer stadium and they were inviting 24,000 kids to come.
That's right.
And then, a video comes out, and it's obviously in Australia. You can tell by their accents, and basically some lad is there skitzing out on the floor, and then all the nurses and staff put the screens around him. It's like, don't just leave it there. I want to know what's happened.
And it was like 4 kids died or something in there or something like that, just in the stadium or something.
We don't get.
I can't remember what I was reading it earlier, but I can't fucking remember where I saw it. Maybe it was on.
You never get you need to verify this stuff because there's so much bullshit flying around. That's the problem.
That's the thing. Yeah, just and I admit I do get like we've got a. Well, actually, it's almost a defunct family. Got a WhatsApp group for the family when there was a lockdown, so we could get in touch with my mum and stuff like that, so everyone felt all connected or whatever. But invariably, I can't help myself. I like post.
It just turns into Richard posting stuff and my sister posting other stuff against his stuff. She just basically fact checks him every time and just argues. It's just them two arguing with each other.
I'm like,
getting fact checked by my sister.
Well, the rest of our family being medicated or whatever it is, and I'm just like, I suppose it doesn't really help her now because I'm just trying to save your life, but it's probably, hopefully not beyond that. But you know what I mean? It's like, I probably shouldn't post it because it does just wind people up. I just can't help it. It's just that death click. It's like, just share this one. Maybe they'll have a little conversation about it. It's not like that, though. It's like just some opposite anti whatever. It's just,
I know where you're coming from. I mean, all I would say is that I hope that you're wrong.
Oh, fucking me. I hope I'm wrong.
And I think there are some people who enjoy it, when in our conspiracy sort of community, when something comes out that someone's had an adverse event, and there are some people who actively promote that stuff. And I'm sure there are people who are willing it. Who are like willing this
want it to happen
to turn south, and I really hope I'm I'm not down that road. I think it's pretty reckless the way it's been rolled out without any long-term stuff. Should definitely not be giving it kids. And, I would argue that it should only be the elderly and people who are vulnerable who should be even thinking about having it.
Yeah.
But, I just really hope that what our worst fears don't materialise.
Makes me feel sick thinking about it. You just think it can't possibly be.
I don't think, people will say, oh, it's a plan to depopulate. I don't.
So I'm with you. I'm with you, Lee. I don't think it's intentional.
A rubbish plan. No, I think it's a rubbish plan because I don't know why they would want to depopulate the world at the moment.
They do want to depopulate. They want people to want to do it on a decline as opposed to.
I don't know if they do. I think they just want people to buy their shit all the time.
Even the man with a really nice voice, Mr. Attenborough, wants to depopulate. They want to depopulate the world, but they don't. I don't necessarily think they want to. Kill billions in 3 months, or whatever.
But the thing is,
graphite oxine or whatever. Oxide,
having an opinion saying that the world could probably do with having less people, and that's not the same as saying you want to depopulate the world, is it? David Attenborough could easily say the world could do with having less people in it. It doesn't mean he wants to go out and murder people.
My bank account could do with £1 million in it.
Well, it could do.
I know, and I do want it. That's
what but I'm just because someone says like, oh, the world might be better if there wasn't as many people. It doesn't mean they want everyone to die. It's an opinion.
I know.
I think we could. Yeah. There's lots of stuff we could all agree on that. We could probably all agree now the world probably would be better with less people in it. I don't want to go and kill. I don't want to depopulate the world. It's an observation that at the moment
insanely
the way our systems are run, the way we're set up, this amount of people it's not working. I mean, we could easily support that many people with a different system and a different.
Not working.
Oh well, Lee, you might say that we need a great reset then.
Yeah, I could say that.
Wow. Welcome to the Great Reset. You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Yeah, and you will. You will own nothing. Maybe. Everything will be on pay as demand. I mean, it started with mobile phones. All of a sudden, with the iPhone and the Galaxies, phones went from being £50 for an handset to £500 and then £1,000. Well, people can't afford that, so you get it on tick. And you pay a monthly contract for a year, it used to be, and then it was 18 months, and then it was 2 years, and now it's cars. Every fucker's driving around in brand new cars, and they don't have
that. Like, they can't.
They can't. No, they haven't got 30 grand. They haven't got 30 grand to spend on a car. But
all BMWs parked in your car in your driveway. It's like,
they can manage £300 a month, for the HP. They don't own it. And that's the way things are going to go, I think. I think that's going to be expanded, and we're just addicted to credit and want. It's rooted in consumerism, isn't it? We always want the biggest, best, newest shit, and we can't wait. I need it now. I need it yesterday. Give me the new fucking phone, the new tablet, the new laptop. All right, I can't afford it, but I can afford £30 a month. Fuck it.
Mine cost me £80, and it was mine broke. And I bought exactly the same model from a website, and it's exactly the same as my other phone. Like, as in the battery don't work on it. It's almost like a clone. I think they just cloned my phone and then sent me. And I couldn't, for the world of me, work out where I bought the fucking thing from. But I couldn't send it back.
China. You brought it from China.
Yeah, probably. I keep all of my emails, and I just couldn't work out how to. Anyway, so who needs a £500 phone? Like, whatever.
No one.
But you're right about
the. Actually need it.
I think I've had the same phone for 4 or 5 years now. It's,
me too.
I got a Galaxy S8, so I'm guessing that's maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And it was a 2-year contract, and your contract runs out, and they send you an email. Oh, you're ready for an upgrade. How about the S10 or the S9 or whatever the fuck it was? I looked at this thing and I thought, it fucking does everything. It does everything I need. I don't need to spend an extra £30 a month just to get, a slightly better screen or resolution.
Extra camera or whatever, but
you never use.
They're shit.
Oh.
Right, it's really good having a camera on your phone, walk around, take pictures of fucking daffodils or whatever you do, bunnies.
Add them to your library you never look at.
But try and zoom into the moon, or a fucking spaceship flying over. It can't take shit, can it? You can't take a picture of anything.
That's the way they make them, though.
Camera, yeah. It's like
it's a conspiracy.
Fucking Mothman's flying over me. It's like a splodge of shit on my fucking. They're rubbish.
Because the moon's a hologram. When you try and take a picture of it, the radio waves coming off it interrupt your camera.
I think so. It probably.
It's just a light in the sky.
Well be, yeah. That's all it is. It's just someone just a light on a thingy. Ding ding. Oh no. Hey, what do you think about aliens and shit like that?
Do you know,
extra dimensional beings or aliens or?
I'm not buying it.
Demons. There's no. What bit aren't you buying?
I think it's.
He's not buying a new phone for a start, and he's not buying aliens either,
or a new van. No, I think there's probably life, outside our solar system, somewhere in the vastness of the universe. I don't think.
So we're not on a flat Earth then.
No, are we? Fuck no.
Go on, yeah. Anyway, go on, carry on.
I don't think they've visited us. I'm not buying it.
Okay. What about all the reports of stuff that people have seen? Is everybody seen something? Did you military craft?
Phil, did you watch that video I posted in your Discord from those people who do special effects?
Yeah,
that was good. I like that. It was the Tic Tac videos and that, Rick. They were breaking down that, and like one of them, they were just like analyzing, because obviously they do effects and stuff. They understand our cameras and that.
Yeah.
And a couple of them was like, oh, this one where it's he's locked on that thing that's flying along. They said it could be a bird because the plane's moving so quickly.
Yeah.
And the thing that he's tracking probably isn't moving really quickly, and it just makes it look like could be anything. It was just a good thing. They were just breaking down. I think you have.
I think you have showed me them before. Like it's basically just they're like special effects people. Is that what you're talking about? Is it? I think I've seen that before. You did actually.
They just analysing like different. And one of them, there was one where it looked like a triangle thing, and they said it's probably due with because it's taken someone's using a phone. It's like the aperture's like a really poor aperture. Like the better the what's it called, the lens and that, the aperture has more segments on it.
Yeah.
And if you do like a really crappy phone, they'll just do a thing where it's like got 3 segments. So therefore, when you take a picture of something that's like blurry, it's like the aperture makes a triangle. So the thing you're taking a picture of is a triangle, and that's why these things come out like flying triangles.
Yeah, but people have. What about people that?
They were just explaining the pictures that we saw. The
millions. I mean, I've seen weird shit. I don't know what it is, but it's probably just planes or whatever. But how about people that claim to be abducted by?
We had Terry Lovelace on our show about 6 months ago, and he went in great detail, and is such a credible witness. Yeah. Like his career, and he's a well-educated, smart guy who's had positions in public office, like esteemed positions, and he went through his entire account with us, and I can't explain that. I can't explain that. This is where the sort of doubt is in my head. I just don't know. I don't know
either. I think if anything has come from somewhere else, it's going to be like a dimensional thing, and not like a spaceship that's travelled across
parallel.
Well, maybe jumping parallel, punching through dimensions. I think it can only be that. It can't be something on a spaceship flying through space, taking.
Could be, but it's probably not. I don't know, obviously, but yeah.
The interdimensional angle is really interesting. I read a book earlier, right at the beginning of the year, called "A New Model of the Universe," or "A New Model for the Universe." I can't remember, by P.D. Uspensky, and he spends a chapter breaking down dimensions, how we perceive dimensions, and how 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensions could work. And it's like it proper bends your head kind of stuff.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, but the way
What's that called? What's that book called?
A New Model of the Universe.
Okay, I was interested.
A New Model of the Universe. Yeah, I've just seen it in the pile there, and I put post-it notes and highlight pen all the way through it, all the bits like I will go back and reread. I can't remember. It's months since I read it, but if you can imagine like a one dimension as being a line, so 2 points with a line in between, and then a 2-dimensional universe or a 2-dimensional being would be like a plane, like a square, and then a 3-dimensional being a cube. But if I can't explain it because I'm well out of my depth, but he does a really good job of explaining it, and it sort of leaves open that possibility to even someone who's trying to be rational and sort of explain these things in a way that makes sense without invoking like supernatural or more prosaic explanations.
We call it all sort of supernatural and stuff like that, but it's natural, isn't it? I mean, we're just. I tried to say. I mean, I think I've wound my brother up before, like by saying we're literally just energy. Nothing really exists. You like tap on the table, it's not really there. It's just our perception of it. We just perceive. It's our like brain or whatever it is just perceives all the energies and stuff around us. We don't actually exist as like this. It's so hard to explain, but I know what I mean. This isn't our ultimate sort of existence. It's just how we appear to each other. We're I don't know, made out of light, etc. And I don't know. I can't explain that, but it's all.
It's like the quantum physicists say that we're more nothing than something, and like the spaces between our atoms. There's a famous thing where if you took every atom of every human being who ever existed, and you crunched down all the atoms and got rid of all the empty space, every human who ever lived would fit inside the space of a baseball.
Yeah,
we're more nothing than something.
A lot of people are a lot more nothing than something. But I had an experience with I used something called salvia. Do you know what salvia is? Salvia divinorum. You heard of that? Have you used it? You've used it? No. Right. I basically I got this little tube like this, and I was like, I'm gonna just gonna have an experience here. So basically, I got this pipe. I know you had to have like a super burner or whatever, and I got the tiniest little bit, and I thought I'll just do it, lay onto my bed, have an experience, whatever it is. Obviously, I know now you're supposed to have people with you and shit like that because it's pretty. Anyway, I'd done this thing, and I was like, and I instantly became this infinite beam of light experience, and that's my that's my experience. I was I became this infinite beam of light.
Wow.
Forever. It was like fucking. It changed my life, honestly, because I used to suffer from depression and stuff like that. And it was a bit scary coming out, but that was my thing. I became an infinite, being of light. I've experienced that, but as I was coming out of it, this is quite a funny thing. Came out of it, and I became merged with the carpet. And I got stuck in I experienced what it was to be a fiber of, the fiber of feeling like I was the carpet. So I know what it is to be stuck in the carpet for infinity, and that's what that felt like. And I kind of like managed. I was living at my parents at the time. I kind of like managed to sort of crawl into the hallway, and then I got stuck in the wall, and I was fucking stuck in the wall forever. And it was really that bit. All that stuff was really terrifying. And I remember like going, "Ooh," it's like thinking, "Fucking call an ambulance, man! I'm fucked here." But that's why. Anyway, but the infinite beam of light made me realise that that's what we are, and after that, I was almost sort of cured of depression and stuff like that, because I know that this isn't everything. But obviously, the carpet and shit like that. That's what I think. You get haunted. You hear about haunted tables and shit like that. I think maybe that's the feeling of what someone's stuck in the wall or stuck in the carpet or stuck in a picture. It's like being on salvia, but stuck in a fucking. Anyway, I think every single person on the planet should have to smoke some salvia at some point just to experience that, because the infinite being of light was just like. Anyway.
What about DMT? If either of you?
I've never. No, I've only done that basic salvia, and it was only a tiny bit. I've still got the rest of it upstairs after 15 years, whatever. But no, I'd like to at least ayahuasca, DMT, peyote. I tried mushrooms, but it didn't work. I don't think I brewed them enough, but properly. Also, have you done any of that stuff? Or
Yeah, mushrooms, and I remember seeing like wallpaper dripping off the walls, and the guy. I was at a house party, and there was this prog rock guy from what's the name of the band? Hawkwind.
All right.
And he I was looking up at him, and he sort of turned into an owl.
Oh, not the owl.
Oh, that's a abduction experience, isn't it? Yeah.
Moloch. He turned into Moloch.
No. A lot of people that have abduction experiencing these giant owls.
Really?
You not heard that? Yeah,
No.
that's a big thing of abductees. They see owls, a big owl, like human-sized owls. So maybe you're having an experience with an interdimensional being there.
Maybe that's
awesome.
where the Moloch thing comes from then.
That could be as well, yeah. Maybe, the worship of owls, which is actually the worship of extra dimensional beings or ETs or whatever.
I'm sort of quite what's the word? When it comes to hallucinogenics and stuff, I'm a bit cautious really now.
Should be, yes, definitely. I certainly am, but it was just a.
I mean, the concern is that you might end up damaging yourself, and that was back when I was in my 20 years old or something. Whereas now I've got responsibilities. I'm in the system. I've got kids, and I've got to find the mortgage payment every month and all the rest of it. And so
I had some magic mushrooms growing in my garden, like psilocybin. I haven't touched them. I was just like, that's telling me to. I've got it's a grow bag of all these vegetables and shit, which I don't even know what they are. I can't remember what they were, and I planted them. But I had magic mushrooms growing in there, and I was like, that's telling me I should use them. And I was like, but I didn't, because responsibilities and stuff like that.
I think a lot of it's to do with the setting, isn't it? And doing it in the right sort of frame of mind.
Right people, right? Yeah, you shouldn't do it if you're any of that stuff. If you're struggling with. I don't know about depression, because they say that the psilocybin that can help with depression now. So it's a difficult thing there, isn't it? Like
there's ongoing studies. I can't remember where it is that's doing them, but using psilocybin and the MDMA. For PTSD and depression and different things, and that these can be sort of like a reset for people with psychological problems, and can be used as a medicine.
I think it's insane that these things can grow in your garden, but if you pick them and dry them out, it's class having heroin. It's like, fucking seriously, it's absolutely insane.
Why is that? Why do we think that psychedelics are illegal?
Oh, because they open up your mind. And you get to contact extra dimensional beings that tell you everything's cool, man. Or
is this to do with the medical as well? Like medical uses. If you can grow stuff in your garden, then you don't have to go to the doctor and get them.
Guys, I've got to go in about 5 minutes.
That's the race. Okay.
All right. I'm just going to get my shoes on ready.
We'll just finish it now.
We'll just finish it. Oh, sorry. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. We'll finish.
We can wrap it up now.
Anyway, we're the Big Conspire, and you can find us on. Lee, tell us where you can find us. Twitter.
I forget.
Odyssey,
really.
Apple, Facebook, Instagram.
We don't.
No, all that stuff. No,
he says this every time. We don't got Facebook.
You're on Instagram.
We're not even on Instagram.
We got banned, I think, and never went back. I
think. He posted one thing on Instagram and it got right. Pretty much.
It's called Instaban.
You can get us on Twitter on Big Conspire, Odyssey, Big Conspire. Send us a message. Was it bigconspire@hotmail.com if you want?
Yeah. I don't think we've ever received a message, but someone will send us money or something.
No one's listening. Phil, what about you? Where can they find the Amish Inquisition?
Just wherever you're listening, search for the Amish Inquisition. You'll find us, or go to theamishinquisition.com, and all the links are there.
Awesome. Anyway.
It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it tonight.
Yes,
nice to finally meet you in face to face and have a chat.
I got a face. I remember you saying, "Oh, it's good to put a face to these people." But it's your face now for all of them. Is there three of you? Is there three of you or two of you?
Yeah, three. Usually three. Yeah.
Usually, because I think two of you sound very, very similar, and one sounds a little bit different to the other two. So it's hard to work out who's. It doesn't matter anyway, but it's cool. All right. Anyway. Better go. Catch you later.
Drive safe.
Yay! Down. Go.
He's out of here. He's gone.
He's
already.
gone. It's just like, see you later.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
He's on a schedule.
Oh dear. I better stop.
I like that.
I better stop